Good morning. My name is Goran Janev. I'm coming from Skopje, Republic of Macedonia. Connection with Basurama came through a close friend of mine, Alberto Corsen Jimenez. Do you hear now? That's okay? Okay, I'll do this. We were thrilled with the proposition from Basurama to try to implement this project in Skopje. We're still trying, we're implementing, and we are still trying to implement it as it's originally intended, but it was not going so fluently as we wished in the beginning or expected. Maybe not expected, but wished. The main activity was, in the beginning we tried to identify the civic initiatives in the city. So I work as a social anthropologist, I work in the Institute for Sociological, Political and Juridical Research, long name, part of the university in Skopje. I teamed up with Ognen Marina, an architect, who is very much involved also in this kind of projects. And first task for us was to identify the existing civic initiatives. And then we were looking at how to analyze and how to improve and how to facilitate some of them go along further. We approached the municipality of Center. Skopje is divided into 10 municipalities. The central one is by this very name, the municipality of Center. Then adjacent to it is the municipality of Chair, which is covering the old nucleus of the city, and which is very mixed ethnically. And we also approached the city of Skopje, which is it's not two-tier municipal level division, but it's again separate entity that is taking control of the city in general, but they cannot impose decisions to the any one of these 10 municipalities. So they're more or less independent bodies. So however, we approached all of them. We approached the departments for cooperation with NGOs, and we approached their departments for urban planning. And what we asked them in a number of interviews and written letters, we asked them if they can file to us these initiatives. Unfortunately, there was so little that we received and so how to say diverse, and then we tried to see what's in it and how to make use of this poor material. What we decided to do is then to expand the line of inquiry, and we went outside of the institutional line of providing information. So we went to an architectural collective, Architect 3. They're more architectural studio, but they're very active in interventions in public space. And we asked them if they can share some of their experiences. They joined us as partners later on in the project, and they provided with some additional information. So as a result of all this fact-finding or initial research, we came up with something that you can see a catalog of urban initiatives in Skopje. It's not finished project. It's not finished product. We will still have to include a number of micro interventions in the public space that are not recorded, not part of any collective or whatever, but it's just happening around the city. Arrangement of benches or providing some gazebo for sit around in front of the building or in some little park near the building. And we would like to also, it's one of the tasks before the workshop in Skopje, to identify some of those actors and to have an interview with them. Because the main finding out of all these experiences is that there is, first of all, incredible lack of initiatives or unawareness of the possibilities for taking action on the side of the citizens. The expectation is that municipality will provide, or the state will provide. We might term this as a post-socialist reflex, when the strong etatist consciousness is still present in the mindset of the citizens of the country and the government people that works in the administration on the one hand, and then on the other hand, the administration itself is not proactive enough to encourage the citizens to come forward with this kind of initiatives. So there is no single, we didn't recognize through the interviews, and I have some experience working in the city of Skopje. There is no such awareness, such an idea about direct communication with the citizens. It's rather top-down process all the time, and as we know from the the longer name of the Urban Cooks project, we were aiming at identifying, facilitating, and analyzing the bottom-up process, and that's something that we couldn't identify in Skopje. Therefore, we came up with a change of objectives, let's say, in the terms of the Skopje project, and that's to kickstart these civic initiatives. And so what's ahead of us is a production of a little mobile unit which could serve as a stand, which could serve as a carrier, which could serve as a little platform for different kinds of uses, like a food bank, like a mobile bookstore, or book exchange, or a little platform for organizing events. So we, for this intention, for this idea to come to realization, we approached and we successfully negotiating the partnership with one very new but very active, very successful. It's not even NGO; they are not registered. They are called Autonomous Cultural and Social Center. In this moment, they exist in one little flat, 3 rooms, and in this small space of 50 square meters, they managed to organize over 150 events in the first day of their existence. So we see these guys as very active, right? Incredibly active, incredibly energetic, and capable of moving things for no financial rationale behind it, just driven by the motivation that something is needed to be done. They organized a number of things, among them the first food cooperative and stuff like that. So the idea is to provide them with this mobile unit that could be on wheels. It can be packed, it can use the material, it can be used as a transporter, so it can be taken with a bicycle from here to there. It's also based on the experience of, in Skopje we have a very informal way of transportation, usually run by the members of the Roma community. It's a small tricycle, it's a makeshift vehicle. It's usually the moped in behind that drives this big cargo space, and they move the things around the city. And because they are Roma, and people jokingly hire these Romobiles throughout the city to move little things from here to there for little money. So we wanted to include this kind of experience and practice into this project, and to not to invent something new for the city, but to draw on the cultural practices existing there. So we will see. It's up to us for the next workshop that we will organize in Skopje to have this implement it. We will work with the students of architecture to provide the technical drawings and preparation of the material to be cut out and to realize this little stand. We don't have drawings to show. It will be made in the process. We will see how it will go and to what kind of uses it will be put. The idea is to have this little germ that will infect the consciousness of Skopje citizens. We intend to have these temporary occupations, from occasion to occasion, on different positions in the city, so to show them that public space is theirs, they can put it to use, they can really use it. It's up to them, it's up for grabs, they don't need to ask anyone, so we are bypassing the slow, gigantic or closed city administration, and we are going directly into action. So maybe from that, it will also be an eye-opener for the city administration that people need public space to be used to multiple uses. So let me just run you through this catalog of the initiative that we identified as possible for implementation, but we will not implement any of those. Some are already implemented, so it's a mishmash of different initiatives that we find in Skopje. I will quickly run you through this catalog. This is the map of city of Skopje. With blue is the river passing through the city. With the yellow is the little ring, the central part of the city of Skopje, and which is from one side is municipality of Centra, from the other side is municipality of Chair. So we worked in these two municipalities. And here are the initiatives that we identified throughout the city, and all the possible interventions that we could do through this kind of projects. So one of the initiatives that we included in this catalog is Skopje Grows. It is actually a very interesting project by Architect 3, in which they identify the existing, they follow up the disappearing of green space in central part of the city. The densification of buildings is incredible, and all the green space is now devoted. By 2020, according to the urban plan, there will be no green space in this municipality. It will all be buildings and parking lots. And used to be a very nice neighborhood, but now it's, I would say, 3 times, 4 times, if not tenfold. You see the growth of the buildings and all that. So the idea was to intervene in one of these lots, green lots, to occupy them and to prevent further devastation of the greenery. So this was one of the sites that we tried to conquer. We failed to infiltrate the citizens. We had one of our partners, Architect 3, living in one of these buildings, and he tried to push for this initiative, but with not much success. So the picture on the left-right corner is maybe most indicative of the state we are in. So one of the other initiatives that we have already project like in preparation is this trash cooperativa. It's something that may be similar to some of the initiatives that we've seen happening here in Madrid, but we didn't find citizens that will pick up. So the idea was not to have an NGO implemented project, but to have a citizens initiated project implemented. But however, we had to adjust. Then one of the initiatives was to have this liquid history. So you write with this translucent material that only shows the writings when it's raining or when it's wet, to enhance the local memory. So, but we will see. Maybe we will implement that. Again, we are insisting on finding citizens that are interested in doing that. it's easy to implement from the point of some NGO or some architectural studio. The idea is to have people drawn in. So this is how they envisage how it could look. You can have an inscription on the objects in the pavement, so when it rains, the letters will appear and will become visible. Then we approached the Association of Visually Impaired Persons to help them implement one of the first tactile pathways in the city of Skopje, because that never happened. Luckily, meanwhile, they managed to have some cooperation with the city administration, perhaps as a result of our pushing and inquiring in this direction. So some of these pathways are going to be implemented nowadays in Skopje. This is the students of architecture providing the technical preparation for the tactical pathways. And then there is this project Urban Acupuncture that already happened in the city of Skopje with this kind of interventions, enriching the public space. Then there was this initiative for bicycle parking, because Skopje is a very flat city, but there is little bicycle traffic because of the occupation of the pavements, streets, sideways by the cars. There is no space for cycling, so this initiative was to raise awareness of how much space is taken by cars by providing parking lots to showcase how many bikes you can park on a place of a car, and to encourage this use of the bicycles. You see some fancy hipster bikes parked and pictured for the catalog. This is like street art initiatives to enrich the walls, empty walls. And this is something that we didn't find who did it. Somebody just did it. They did a little library. This on this corner you see the little library. You can put a book. You can take a book out of there. And on other place there was this share food. If you have extra food, you can just leave it there, so somebody who needs it can pick it up. So perhaps in this mobile unit that we are envisaging to do, one of the first or two events that we'll try to organize will be exactly along these lines, because if we are to follow, is there any initiative? This is an initiative. We don't know who did it, and we will just try to follow this direction and to provide a better means, more organized platform for this kind of exchanges of books, or organizing a promotion of books, poetry readings, whatever, and also these food banks where people can leave their food or exchange the food, or they can leave food for somebody else who needs to take. So we will see how it will go. So I think that more or less I covered all the important aspects of mainly of the obstacles that we find out in Skopje, and that was the lack of civic initiatives and lack of awareness and lack of the openness on the side of the city administration to encourage these kind of initiatives. So I hope that our action for infecting the city with this germ of occupation of public space will be successful at the end. So on the next occasion we will speak about real initiatives, like, I mean, more interesting, more complex, more elaborate, more permanent, as you have in Madrid. One of the things that is discouraging, and maybe discourages the citizens of the city of Skopje, is that we have right now the right-wing government for 9 years in control of the whole system of institutions and every level of government. They are very populist, they are very nationalist, they are remaking the city center to look like an older European capital, so they build neoclassical and Baroque buildings now in 21st century. In Skopje city that was planned to be built as a modern city on the competition of United Nations organized after the earthquake in 1963 as a city of solidarity, open city, on a model of the architect, most avant-garde architect back then in the time, Kenzo Tange, and his team. And Skopje was envisaged to be a very modern city with open spaces, with fluid buildings, with pure form. And unfortunately, we are now faced with going back in time, not only in terms of aesthetics, but also in terms of political thinking and imposition of top-down decisions. The estimates are that they really wasted over €500 million in a country which has a total budget of 2.5 billion per year. So they indebted our country in order to build this big Napoleonic project in the center of the city. And therefore we see it also as one of the major impediments for civic initiative, because all that they can see is that you can only do things with a lot of money and only by the government. So we will try to really, our idea is to try to push away this understanding of fixed, static intervention in the public space, and instead of it, that's why we are trying to do this on a wheels, to do this mobile unit that will move around the city and will help us spread the infection of thinking in terms of mobility, fluidity, based on everyday needs, on daily needs, not on some long-term projects for changing of identity and the branding of the city and branding of the nation and these large nonsensical ideas. So we practically, I just wanted to say this at the end because we are facing a big dragon with open mouth and spitting fire on us and the citizens in the city of Skopje in terms of this kind of initiatives. It will be very difficult to encourage the neighbors to recognize that they have strength in working together and that they can do things without waiting for the big government to come to do it for them. So that's the situation more or less, and I'm open for questions now or later to describe in more details how we are managing this project. And first and foremost, although it's at the end, I must thank Basurama for approaching us, and we learned incredibly a lot, and we will try to disseminate this knowledge on the workshop in Skopje in beginning of May. To show, we will try to bring as much as possible publicity and attention to this event, to show to the citizens of Skopje and to bring to the public eye the possibilities that are happening elsewhere in Europe, in Spain, which is in a big economic crisis, and still many things can be done with little resources. So I'm really looking forward to work on this further. This is what I want to say. Although by the end of the project we are not stopping, we are just beginning to work what we had properly to do during this project. But facing these obstacles, that was the possibility. Thank you very much. I hope I was within the limits of the time.